8 divers, were preparing to enter a cenote in Mexico. They had just finished diving another cenote and had a great time, so they decided to dive one more. But what they didn't expect was that in this second cenote, they passed 2 massive warning signs. One said stop, the other showed the Grim Reaper, yet the guide still led them deeper inside. Even worse, the guide swam ahead for a long time without ever looking back. When he finally turned around, he found half the group was missing. So what would be the fate of these 8 people? Welcome to this cave diving story. On Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, in Quintana Roo State, there's a town called Tulum. It's located close to the Caribbean coast, surrounded by thousands of cenotes, underground caves filled with crystal clear water. Because of their spectacular beauty, these cenotes have become famous diving destinations, attracting diving enthusiasts from around the world. About 2.5 kilometers from Tulum, there's a cenote called Calavera. Locals also call it Cenote Esqueleto, because this cenote has 3 openings. From above it looks like a skull. 2 small holes are the eyes. 1 large hole is the mouth. Calavera means skull in Spanish. This cenote has another name too, Temple of Doom. Inside the cenote is a limestone cave system. The depth isn't very great. The deepest point is about 15 to 17 meters, but the passages are complex, with many branches. After entering, you first reach a cavern zone. This area has a complete guideline. The water is clear, the temperature is warm, and you can always see natural light from above. This zone is suitable for regular divers, but if you continue deeper, you'll enter a passage called the Madonna. There's no natural light there. It's a true cave environment, very dangerous. So management placed 2 warning signs at the entrance prohibiting untrained divers from entering. On August 17, 1995, a couple named Harry and Maria ran a dive shop on Cozumel Island called Mexican Divers. They had moved here from Mexico City several years ago. Business had been good. Recently, they'd received many calls from people wanting to dive the Tulum cenotes. This gave Harry a business opportunity. Though Harry and Maria were both open water divers, they had no cave diving experience or certification, but Harry didn't think this was a problem. Just find a guide familiar with the area. So they decided to hire a local guide. They found an open water instructor named Juan. Juan said he was familiar with Tulum's cenotes and had been there many times. He could take them. That morning, 8 people gathered in Tulum. Besides Harry, Maria, and Juan, there were 3 Dutch people, 1 Italian, and 1 American woman. All 8 only had open water certification. None had cave diving training. They first went to Gran Cenote, a famous dive site 5 kilometers from Tulum. The first dive went very smoothly. The spectacular scenery, warm, clear water, got everyone excited. Everyone had a great time, so they decided to dive another cenote. They drove to Calavera, the Temple of Doom. By now, everyone was very relaxed because the first dive went so well. This lowered their guard. Juan, as the guide, led the way down. Harry was in the 8th position at the back. At first, they swam around the cavern zone. The scenery was still beautiful, but after a while, Juan's overconfidence took over. He didn't keep the group in the cavern zone. Instead, he continued deeper. Soon, they reached a passage entrance. 2 warning signs stood there. One was a red stop sign. The other showed the Grim Reaper, clearly stating, untrained divers prohibited from enterings. But Juan still led everyone inside. They entered the Madonna passage. There was no natural light here. It was full cave environment. To make things worse, they were wearing weight belts designed for saltwater. In the freshwater cenote, they were severely overweighted. Their bodies kept sinking. In the narrow passage, 8 people formed a long line. Overweighted, they could only swim feet down. Their kicks stirred up massive sediment from the floor. Those behind had rapidly decreasing visibility. Harry, at the very back, was completely engulfed by the churned-up sediment. He could barely see anything. Fear took over. He didn't continue forward. Instead, he turned around and swam back alone. He made his way back through the cavern zone and reached the surface. But the others weren't so lucky. Some began to lose their way. They didn't know where the exit was. Couldn't see the guideline either, because they hadn't laid any guideline at all. In panic, some began breathing heavily, trying to get more air. But this only made gas consumption faster. Their breathing became rapid. Heart rates accelerated. Panic spread like a contagion. Gas consumption accelerated. But Juan had no idea. He kept swimming forward. Finally, after many minutes, Juan remembered to look back. He was shocked. Only 3 people were behind him. The other 4 were gone. Juan quickly turned back. When he reached the cavern zone, he found the situation was bad. 2 people's tanks were completely empty. Another person was very low on gas. Juan himself was also running low. Harry was already back at the surface. He was the only one who had turned back on his own. They exchanged tanks. Then Juan immediately returned to the passage. He had to find the others. In the Madonna passage, Juan first saw 2 motionless figures, the American woman and the Dutch man. Their gas had run out first. They had collapsed in the middle of the passage. But Juan didn't stop. He knew there might still be someone alive ahead. He kept swimming deeper. Finally, deep in the passage, he found Maria. Maria's tank was empty, but she still had a faint breath. Juan decided to save the living first. He desperately dragged Maria out of the passage, all the way to the surface, then began CPR. Then Juan returned to the passage once more and pulled the 2 bodies to the surface. People on shore were shocked. They hadn't expected this to happen. Maria was rushed to the Red Cross station in Tulum. The ambulance siren wailed all the way. Medical staff continued resuscitation in the vehicle, but despite all efforts, she still died. By the end of that day, only 5 of the 8 survived. 3 lives were lost forever. News spread quickly. All of Cozumel was shocked. Officials later investigated the accident. After the bodies were recovered, the coroner examined them. The cause of death was clear. All 3 drowned due to running out of gas. In a cave environment, when visibility drops, untrained divers easily become disoriented. They don't know where the exit is, where the dead ends are. Panic makes breathing rapid. Under normal conditions, a tank can last 40 to 50 minutes, but in a panic state, it might be depleted in 20 minutes. Gas consumption multiplies. When the gas runs out, divers feel tightness in their chest, desperately trying to breathe but can't, then lose consciousness, eventually drown. Death is the only outcome. The causes of this accident were obvious. First, Guide Juan was only an open water instructor. He had no cave diving certification. He wasn't qualified to lead anyone into caves. This was the most fatal problem. Second, all 8 divers only had open water certification. None had cave diving training. They didn't know what to do in caves, even less how to respond in emergencies. Third, the group was too large. Even a professional cave guide should only take a maximum of 4 people. 8 people were unmanageable, more prone to problems in narrow passages. Fourth, they didn't lay a guideline. The guideline is a lifeline in cave diving. Once visibility dropped, finding the exit became very difficult. Fifth, Juan didn't look back for a long time. He might have swum for 10 minutes or even longer, without checking on those behind. So when people at the back got in trouble, he had no idea. By the time he found out, it was too late. Many in the diving community considered this first-degree manslaughter. Some strongly demanded Juan be sent to prison. In the end, Juan didn't go to jail, but he could never be a dive instructor again. The tragedy caused a huge reaction in Cozumel. All dive shops sent representatives to meetings. The location was a hotel in Playa del Carmen. The meeting room was packed. Everyone was discussing how to avoid similar accidents. The meeting decided to form an association. They began establishing safety standards for cenote diving and guide certification requirements. From that point on, cenote diving in the Tulum area had stricter management. So, cave diving is not just an extension of regular diving. It's a completely different professional field, requiring specialized training, professional equipment, and strict operational procedures. Never let one successful dive lower your guard against danger, and never follow someone into unknown environments just because they say they're familiar with it. Caves don't give second chances.